Welcome to the BAI show. My name's James Rankin and I am here with the lovely Marina Shatalova. Maple Street?
If you ever learn to pronounce my surname, I will love you even more. Shatalova from Marble Street.
Okay.
Otherwise, it sounds like you're swearing. Please don't do it on camera, It's... And James, I live with that, right?
Yeah. That's it. So what's the pronunciation?
Shatalova. But when you stay at the pharmacy, for instance, and they scream like Marina Shatalova, and everyone looks at you like, well.
So good.
So good. You need to stand out, right?
I must admit, I am terrible with names. Like, obviously, some names in Australia can be quite difficult to pronounce, and I'm the first to say it. I'll just be like, hey, I'm going to stuff your name up, so please bear with me.
It's all right. So
it's just the Aussie accent.
I've learned not to get offended.
Yeah, that's it. So we've known each other a while, and in terms of, it's really good to catch up with you again, even, talking beforehand. It's just always a good conversation with you, and I think a lot of people get something out of this. So it is good to have you back on. In terms of your story and BA in general and real estate and business and all of that, I always like to go back and rewind. So go back as far as you want to go, like in terms of your story. We can go back to what you were doing in Russia because you've got a Russian background. How long have you been in Australia?
Since 2010, 15 years.
Okay, 15 years.
And I just got my citizenship. It's a different story to cover.
Yes.
It was a fight, It was.
Oh yeah, I remember the phone calls, all of the FERB stuff, and
crazy.
The joys. So 15 years in Australia.
15 years, yeah.
What were you doing in Russia before you came to Australia?
I got master's in psychology, but I've realized that in Russia back then, it was more popular to have a drink with a friend and offload. That's why psychologists, they were getting about, $500 a month, which was absolutely not enough. And I grew up in absolute poverty. My mom raised me, she's a single mom. And I knew from early childhood that I will not struggle financially. So I'll do whatever it takes to get myself out of that hole. And the hole actually was called electro-isolator. So my city town, my town where I grew up was called electro-isolator. And I thought...
Electric isolator?
Electro-isolator. And I thought, how sexy is that? So I'm out.
Like a component, like an isolator.
Yeah, that's why I think they had a factory there at some point producing them. That's why.
That's funny.
How funny. So it was industrial, very small, and people were just... They didn't like tall poppy syndromes and things like this, so they would never let you succeed. If you're successful, then you're on, and they would just exclude you from the
group.
From the group, yeah. And I thought, I need to get myself out. So I started putting vodka on the shelves at supermarkets when I was 18. And a few years later, I was a selling manager. I was covering Russia, selling vodka Beluga. Then I became regional sales manager, and I was the only girl in the industry. And that industry was designed for a guy, 21 years old plus, with a car. I was 18, then 20, no car. I didn't even have a license in Russia, but I was really, really good at sales. And I think psychology helped. But also what helped is to be connected to people, because I wasn't focusing on selling vodka. I was focusing on building relationships, just subconsciously. So, yeah, and I ended up making about 10,000 euros per month, while my mom, she's an artist, she would be making $300 a month. Massive difference. And obviously psychology would never bring me to that level. And at some point I thought, okay, I've got it all. I got master's in psychology. I got diploma as a model. I got a lot of attention. I'm popular, and financially I'm confident as well, but I'm so bloody unhappy. I'm so empty deep inside. And I thought, what do I do about it? So I went to a monastery and I speak to a priest, and he asked me, what do you do for a living? And I said, I sell vodka. And he said, how about your father, mother? And I said, oh, my father, he's a pilot, but he's an alcoholic. And he said, do you see the connection? And I thought, oh my God. And I quit straight away, but I didn't know anything else. So I was in sales all my life. So I went to a monastery. I lived there for maybe 4 weeks. My mom thought I lost my mind. and they sent us, I was with a friend there. They sent us far, far away from Moscow, like 6 hours drive in a tiny village, and we lived in a tiny hut. There was a sauna or bathroom, 5 minutes walk from that house. The toilet was outside. It was freezing cold, like 30 degrees. It was crazy. And the woman we stayed at, she said, you can't really look different here because, you would stand out.
Yeah.
It's a really, really small community. And she took all my clothing, like all my designer clothing, and gave me the village stuff, outfits, and this wool. I don't know what it's called in English. Like you wrap your head when it's cold. So I looked interesting, and my mom thought that's it. It's a mental health department.
I've lost her.
I've lost her, and my aim there was to learn how they find happiness and fulfillment within them without finances. Because what I thought as a child, like we were poor and I thought if I get myself out of it, I will be happy. And I wasn't. So I've learned that money does not bring you happiness. Yes, it gives you tools to do some things in life, but it's definitely not happiness. And I was living there at that monastery, and the priest was saying to me, you belong here. You must stay. And it was terrifying because I loved it there, but I wanted to get married. I wanted a child. I wanted a family. And because I grew up with a single mom, I've never had this family concept. I really wanted to create it in my life. So I left, and I couldn't go back to selling alcohol. I moved to Australia with no English. I couldn't find myself in Russia. So I moved to Australia. I couldn't speak English. And I married a philosopher who was against money, who thought money is evil. And people from church started bringing food to us, to keep us going. We had enough pasta to cover the whole, whole South Moraine. We lived in South Moraine back then. And
so just on that experience, like in terms of going to the monastery, so it was part of the monastery, was it? Like you went?
Yeah, there was part for women, part for men. We couldn't spend time there together.
So that experience, just on that happiness part, right? Because I think this is, we're going way off track in terms of buyer's agency, but I think it's very relevant just in terms of business and what people go through in life. But that whole happiness piece, so you said if you were doing what you'd studied for, you would have earned $500 a month, right? And you were earning 10,000, like 10,000
a month. Yeah, it was.
So the disparity between that is like just craziness. So I could imagine that you would be top 1%, top 0.1% probably
It was.
in terms of income earners over there. So you saw that, and because it was such a short period of time, right? Like it wasn't that you'd gone and sold vodka for 10 years to like build up to this. 5 years, was it? Yeah. So that's actually still a long period of time. But how soon were you earning that sort of money?
2 years in.
2 years in. So a pretty short period of time. So you've gone and studied, and you didn't want to do what you'd studied for, and now you've jumped into this sales gig earning, just a lot of money.
Yeah.
So you saw that I wasn't happy, or that you weren't happy during that period of time. So you've gone and made this money, and then you've been put into a village where they didn't have any money. How did you find like that happiness piece for you and for them? Like, what did you see? Because they didn't have the money, right? Like, what did they find happiness in?
I saw a few things. So going back to earning money and being surrounded by financially successful people, what I saw is men who lie, who cheat on their wives, who seduce young girls and just don't remember their names next day. So that's what I saw where money was. And where there was no money, we had a guy who worked for 1 cigarette a day. And he would come and help and do all the housework. And also the woman we were staying with, she would feed him. So that's it. That's all what he wanted. And they would talk. So it's connection and giving and community and giving back.
Yeah.
And that's what I saw. I thought living in the environment where people are entitled, if you don't drive Porsche, you can't really approach a girl because you're not worthy. That was the environment. And it was all built on materialistic values. While I was put in the environment where there was no materialistic values, but there was heart.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I learned. I learned that you must give to community to expect something back.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's I do think that because you experienced the money and you were just like, hey, I'm still not happy. Like what's the go?
I was depressed. I was so sad thinking that, is this the world I want to be in? I can't trust people. I can't build relationships with people because they all sell their soul.
Mm-hmm.
A better offer comes, that's it, gone.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So, I mean, that's a pretty extraordinary experience to go through.
I've never shared with anyone, James. I've never told anyone the whole story. And I think when I met my ex-husband, he was doing philosophy and he believed money is evil. I think I had that wrong settings in my head that this man didn't belong to the world of selling his soul. So this is happiness, but money is not evil.
Extreme other side.
That's extreme other side.
Yeah.
And that's what brought me to real estate, because at some point I thought, I must become a breadwinner. We can't just live in that poverty because, yes, maybe I improved some understanding of internal values, but it's not enough. Just money by itself is not enough.
Yeah.
And being a wonderful person is not enough. So you need to...
So if he was a philosopher, like was he part of a church, was he?
He was a part of the church. I met him at church here in Australia, and he was doing bachelor in philosophy, then honors, then PhD. Then he started lecturing. He became a philosophy lecturer at 4 universities, and he would be paid like $150 an hour, but he would only lecture 1 hour a week.
Yeah, right.
And that's it. And what's the rest? And I had times when our son was little, I would go shopping and I had a cup of coffee once a week as my treat. I would sit in a cafe with that cup of coffee thinking that's happiness.
Yeah.
And I still love coffee,
What was his terminal, what was, I guess, the threshold of money and what was enough and what was too much?
I don't think he had threshold. I know that he hated people, rich people or well-off people or people who own properties, because for him it's just something unacceptable.
So that's just pure, as in that person has a property or that person is rich, bad person.
Bad person, yeah. All these beautiful houses full of bad people. And it didn't resonate with me. And what happened is that he was also getting scholarship from the university to fulfill his thinking and doing scholarship, right? And sorry, I forgot. He was on scholarship, and it was enough to cover our rent, and maybe we would have $300 left per month for groceries and medical and everything. And he was telling me that he is building our future. He is doing everything possible to finish his PhD and use the skills the government paid for with his scholarship. And I believed in it, and I thought I'm a wife who's supposed to support him.
Yeah.
And he was saying that I don't have time to be with the family. All my time goes into this PhD thing, and you have to respect it. And I did respect it.
Yeah.
What I didn't know is the same week he finished his PhD, he would leave me. He was like, well, I don't love you anymore. And he took off. And I thought, oh, well. And now I've got a 4-year-old child who is on the spectrum, right? And I'm a migrant. I don't have any hope to rely on anyone, even the government. I wasn't entitled to, I wasn't allowed to get any subsidies, any child support, nothing. And to pay for childcare, it was $150 a day. And I thought, oh my God, so I need to earn more to cover Kenji.
Yeah.
And it was really, really hard. That's how I came up with starting my business, because none of the jobs would help me.
Yeah, cover it. That wouldn't be enough.
Yeah. But also, I've learned from the past that working for money, purely for money, I did it before, selling alcohol, it's not fulfilling. So this time I had to find something that is fulfilling, that is given to community, but also pays enough to cover our needs.
Yes.
So real estate it is.
Real estate. Then it kicks in. So your little boy's 4.
Mm-hmm.
You've, gone through all of that, no doubt a traumatic experience. You can laugh about it now, but I'm sure it was pretty
bad.
full on. But,
it was bad.
Yeah. And look, you are, I know you, we've known each other for probably 6 years or so now. And in terms of your tenacity and your ability to work through things, it's just a testament to who you are and why you're here now. But in that moment, obviously, you've got stuff that you need to get sorted. So you went to real estate. Was that like you had the thought or someone put that in your mind?
I was walking with a pram thinking I need to buy groceries and I can't afford it. And I thought, what do I do? And I was walking by a real estate agency and there were people in suits and I couldn't speak English back then properly. I mean, I could say a few words and I was surrounded by philosophers. I could speak about existential, but I couldn't speak about basic things. Anyway, I knocked on the door of that real estate agency and I said, what would it take to get a job here? And they were like, oh, well, first thing you need is to do the rep certificate. And I thought, okay, that's what we need. I'll do it.
Yep.
My grandma sent me a bit of money and I remember it was, the certificate itself was about $800 and my ex-husband came home and I said, I'm enrolling myself into doing the course. He said, we need groceries. And I said, that's exactly why I'm enrolling myself into doing this course. So we can't spend grandma's money to eat it.
Yeah.
And I did. And I went to the RAV course and I was surrounded by, important real estate people. And I thought, God, what am I doing here? I was panicking even being there, And I remember one of the girls said, oh, are you going for lunch? Do you want to go together? And I thought, oh my God. I'm not a total loser there.
Yeah.
So, and I did the course. I applied for a job and the first company I applied for, they got back to me and they invited me for an interview and I thought I got a job in sales. Okay, happy days.
Yeah.
But it was door knocking.
Yeah. Was that German or? Yeah, that was German. So you had to read the book beforehand.
Yeah, I had to read books. I had to pass exams. I had to be accepted. I had to understand what's required. And also I had to fly to Sydney to meet Neil Genman and he had to accept me. And we were meeting at his library full of books, like the whole room was full of books. And his favorite was Dostoevsky. So Dostoevsky is my favorite too.
Yeah.
And we got to talk. He was recording the conversation and then he was like, oh, well, it's no point to record it because we're off topic. And we got to talk about Dostoevsky, Tolstoy, and he was so happy. He was like, okay, you're in. And he also asked me, he said, how money have you got now? And I said like $20. And he said, so you spent all what you had to fly here? I said, yes. He gave me $500. And then at the next conference, I gave him money back and I gave him a gift and he was talking at the conference about me saying, there is one person here who's got the heart. And I thought, oh, that's sweet. So,
I mean, that's pretty awesome. As wild as they are, and we joke about it now, that's pretty nice. Like, as in, it's not even being nice. That's just like a good human to be able to do that for someone.
It was incredible because I thought I will make it that way. I got no idea how to come back, but
Yeah, and it's the right thing for someone like you too, because you are that person that will go and pay it back. Like there are people that would just accept that, and they'd probably not do anything, and they would just
He did say at the conference that there are so many people in life I gave money to or I lended money to, and I've never heard back from them. And he said this person gave me the money and also gave me a gift. And he said it's just unexpected and it's wonderful. And I thought, okay, and going back to the monastery life, that's what that is about, to do the right thing, whether somebody sees it, whether somebody not. I mean, if you do the right thing, just within yourself, without any acknowledgement, that's a good start.
100%. So you did that. How long were you door knocking for?
3 years.
3 years in real estate, hardcore sales. What area?
Baronia, Croydon, Ringwood. Then I ended up in Dandenong Ranges where I lived in Alinda, which is like, in Baronia, you can my job was to knock on doors and speak to 100 people per day, which means that more than 100 doors you knock on. While
speak to 100 people
Speak to 100 people a day, yeah.
God. People get upset on making 100 phone calls. You had to speak to 100 people.
I would hate to make 100 phone calls. I don't like cold calling. With my accent, it's just,
Just in terms of volume and like actually doing the work, it's a lot longer to go and door knock, to speak to 100 people. than, call 100 people. So,
but you connected the doors. And that's what I was punished for connecting and spending longer time with people, because they would share their stories. They would tell you that we hate real estate. And I was like, okay, why? Because I was thinking that it's an upgrade for me from vodka to real estate. I'm doing something more ethical. I'm helping people.
Yeah.
Why do you hate real estate? And then I started learning from those people at the doors how bad it is. And I thought, oh God, I need to do something to change it.
Yeah, for sure. How many dogs did you get chased by?
I was beaten once. He said it was my property. No one invited you, so not my fault.
Jeez. Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like, I haven't done it, obviously, anywhere near as much as what you've done it. I've done it for real estate, and I did it as part of uni as well. So they made you do it in the sales component of university. Yeah. Go and work. I think I've worked for Energy Australia or something like that. It was just like, go and get some job that's door knocking. Because it teaches you so much.
It does.
A lot. How to interact with people. Because you can imagine going up, knocking on a door. You've got no idea what's on the other side of it. So you have to be, they teach you all, if it's a step, go to the bottom step so you're looking down or you're down versus them. And, make sure your name badge is visible and all this kind of stuff. So you look as if you're a real person.
As if you're a real person.
You're like an authority, right? Like not someone that's going to rob them.
Yep.
I mean, in this day and age, it might be a little bit worse who's knocking on the door. But what did you learn from door knocking?
The biggest part was dealing with rejection. And I probably wouldn't do well at all. I didn't like that part. But my reality was worse than being rejected. So I'd knock on the door, I'd stay there, and I'd be terrified. Like I would have a proper panic attack, especially at the beginning when I knew that my English is horrible. And I was very conscious about it because, I like talking. And I knew I was limited, and I could hear the steps that they're about to open the door. And sometimes I would forget why I was there. And then I would get myself together, and I never followed any scripts. I would just sense who's there, and I would
to them.
Just speak to them. And sometimes I would just tell them that, hey, you know what? I'm really desperate. I'm working for this real estate agency. They're great salespeople, and I just need to find someone who wants to sell. And people sometimes they would call me an angel because they would talk about selling, and somebody knocks on their door in the nick of time, and they would be like, oh my God, you were sent to us. And I thought, yeah, that would do.
So how did you go? Like, were you good at that role? Like, I'd imagine if you're going and door knocking and speaking to those people, you would have gained the skill, and just based off what you did in Russia as well.
I got 4 sales in the first month of doing it. My boss, when I just got a job, he was saying that we need to send you to some sort of an English school or something, to make sure you can speak properly. And after the first month, he was like, you know what? And he was swearing a lot. I'm not going to say what he said here. He said, I don't give any interest how you do it. Just do what you're doing, okay?
Yep.
And
just keep doing it.
Just keep doing it.
Yeah.
And then he would send people, Australian guys in the suits, important real estate people who would join our office. He would send them to learn from me how I do it. And I could never teach because I got no idea how I do it. I just connect to people, and that's what I like.
So good. And so you did that for 3 years, and then an ad popped up or a podcast or whatever it was for BAI, and you jumped into that.
Not exactly, no. I did it for 3 years. Then when my son's father left, I thought I need to do something. I just desperately need to create a way of surviving here. And I started vendor advocacy business. I had no idea that it is vendor advocacy. I called the company Home Sell and Support. And I thought, if I knock on doors and I find someone who is selling, and I can connect them with selling agents, because it's another massive thing. How do you choose a selling agent if they are good at selling? And the first thing they sell is themselves.
Yeah.
And they overpromise, they underdeliver. How do you know who is telling the truth and who is overquoting, underquoting? So how do you know? And I knew how to assess it. And I thought, if I do this, and I was getting, so when I was door knocking for that company, I was getting $400 per listing. And I thought, if I get a little bit more than that, then that's a plan. So I went to the first real estate agency, And I say to them, I said, if I give you a lead, or if you're good to win this lead, for instance, how much would you pay me? Would you do 20%? And they were like, yes, we would. I went to another agency and I asked them for 30%. They said, yes. I went to another agency and I asked for 50%. And they were like, yeah, we would. And I thought that's wonderful, because what I've learned when I was door knocking, that the hardest bit is not to, so it's basically to win the listing, is not to sell it, not to manage, but to win it. And there is massive competition. And I thought, if agents are willing to do 50-50, if I do the right thing for my clients, choosing the agents, let's say I'll pick 5 and then we'll choose one out of those 5. I'm helping. I wouldn't charge my clients for it. And that's a model I came up in my mind just from my experience. And I thought, that's wonderful. It doesn't exist. I'll do it. So I started knocking on doors, especially when I remember when I was recovering from the surgery. I thought, God, I need to make it work. We're desperate. So I went to knock on doors. I would walk and knock for 10 minutes, and then I would sit at the bus stop for 30 to recover. And I met a lovely woman. She was selling 2 properties, and that was my vendor advocacy. I didn't even know. I mean, I didn't even know it was vendor advocacy. I didn't know who Ian Reid is and things like this. And when those properties were sold, and I got a few other clients for vendor advocacy, they came to me saying, hey, you came to our life. You helped us to sell. We sold. We can't purchase. And that's where I met Ben.
Got it.
That's where I saw ad on Facebook, and he said that he's coming to Melbourne. So I booked for that meeting. And I remember I was wearing quite a wide dress to cover my stomach because I was still recovering. I was big and slowly moving. But I thought, I won't show it. I'll just, I'll be presentable. And I went there, met with Ben, and that's how it started.
There you go. So, 2019 made that switch into buyer's agency, like you're doing the vendor stuff. So, it was real estate, vendor. Now you're in the buyer's agent space.
Took over completely.
Yeah. And then that just totally took over. Mm-hmm. So, in terms of where were you? Because you weren't where you were before, or like where you are now, right? You were.
I was in Dandenong Ranges.
Yes.
Door knocking there was nightmare. You knock on the door and the properties are massive. So, and plus there are hills. It's like 10 people per day you speak to. You are a hero. You've done well. So, and I came to Mornington for Christmas, and I looked around, and it feels so different. It's open, and for my brain, for my mind settings, it was like, oh my God, it's full of possibilities. Mm-hmm. While Dandenong Ranges is very enclosed, like a bubble. You sit there in this moody bubble, and you can't be really open there with possibilities. So anyway, I came to Mornington, and I thought that's the next destination. Yep. So took my child, and we moved there. Yeah,
that's it.
That's it.
And how's the buyer's agency business gone? Like since starting it 2019, late 18, whenever it was, how has that been?
Well, it's been great. And I remember before coming to Mornington, I reached out to a buyer's advocate, a local one, and he said, don't bother. You wouldn't be accepted there with your accent. It's an English British community. You wouldn't be accepted. And soon after that, I think Ben posted the ad of me making 100,000 per month as a single mom. I think I was accepted. I think it went very well, and it never stopped.
Yeah. It's so, and you're like quite strict with your fees, and you had, minimums that you were working with. So in terms of fitting into that community and the business model that you were running, you were quite established like quickly,
and it has never changed, which I don't know if it's a good thing or bad thing, but it's like there is no, it didn't get worse. It didn't get better. Like I don't have 100 people working for me.
Yeah.
So it's just me. I only work with 3 people at a time. I charge everything the same amount. I mean, not the same amount, same percentage. It's very structured. It's 2% plus GST. It's all transparent. And my purchase time is 20 days in average.
Yep.
So it's still the same.
And your uniqueness is that you brought across that door knocking to your buyer's agency business. So just talk, I'm okay to share it. And I know it's been something that you have shared, and then you've called me saying, I'm giving away my, my secret or giving away my superpower,
Yeah.
no one will do it, Marina. Like, I'm telling you right now, no one will go and door knock. There's like 2 people that I know that'll go and do it, and it's because they're ex-real estate agents.
That's crazy because it's such a good way finding deals. I remember I knocked on doors in Mount Eliza. I got 6 people willing to sell. I transacted 4 of them, and I only door knocked for 2 hours. It's a no-brainer thing, right?
Yeah.
You meet someone who genuinely needs help, who wants to sell, and you make it happen, and then you stay connected with them, and
Yeah. Just people won't do it because it's too hard. Like, they find it too hard. Oh, I have to drive there. Then, I have to get out of the car and go and speak to people. And what if it's raining? What if it's too hot? Like, you can just imagine all the excuses that come with most people. Like, I'm saying 99% of people will not. You could tell them it's the best model, buyer's agency model for owner-occs in Australia, and no one will go and do it.
You know why? Because they focus on themselves. It's their comfort. It's raining, it's sunny, it's wherever. People will reject them. People will get rude. They focus on themselves, and their ego is protecting them. Like, oh, don't go there. It's not a good thing.
Yeah.
While if you focus on helping people, and you know that you don't door knock empty-handed, right? You've got a client you're trying to help to, and then you're looking for someone who needs help as well, and you do matchmaking, and that's it. So if you focus on others, it happens.
Yeah.
And then the rewards are great, and financial rewards are great, but it's not the greatest one. The greatest one is that when they say, oh my God, this thing. And I've got a collection of, oh my God, in different.
I bet. Different content. Yeah.
Yeah.
So good.
This is the most rewarding part.
Yeah. So do you want, you said that you don't have anyone that's working with you or in the business.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to change that? Like,
no.
Do you want to grow?
No, I wanted to because I thought it's the right thing. And I've been in business since 2018, and it's still me. And I thought, am I falling behind? Because I look at other buyers agents who started back then, and they're massive now. Everybody knows their name.
Yep.
And I thought, that's so good. I need to grow. But I've learned through a recent experience that not everyone is prepared to go through that uncomfortable, or not everyone would do it the way I do it. And I can't force them. And forcing them creates hesitation and all these negative emotions. And I don't want it. I just want peaceful, beautiful energy. And
no one's going to care as much as you. So
and I don't blame them. It's just hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
But if adding someone to my business creates more stress to me than growing it, I think I'm better off by myself. And I don't need volumes. I need quality.
And what have your lessons been learned like over that period of time, right? Like you're probably one of the most established buyer's agents in the space, especially that we get to speak to and that I get to speak to. You started very similar time as me. Is there anything that you've learnt in that period? Like we were talking beforehand that there were a couple of things that you'd learnt about yourself and like how you've ran the business.
Persistence and determination. It's really important, sometimes when you don't feel like doing things, when you're exhausted, you've got other things to worry about, you've got burnouts and stuff. You just need to go and do it step by step. If you do a little bit every day, it's way better than, thinking of a bigger picture and how to get there. It's just step by step. And I remember calling Ben, at the beginning, we had an access to call Ben whenever we wanted. So I was using it. And I was calling him saying, oh my God, I don't have a business. I'm quitting. I have no clients. If I don't have clients, I don't have a business. And he's like, Marina, it's yo-yo, You need to remember when you're high, you will get down. And when you're down, remember those times when you were high. And it's just like this. And because I've been in sales all my life, I don't know stability of 9 to 5. I've never had it.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, all right, it's yo-yo. When I fall, I try to remember when I go up. But when I go up, I don't remember that I tend to fall. And it doesn't really matter whether you've been in business for 3 months, 3 years, or 30 years. I think it's still the pattern.
100%. Yeah, especially sales. Like you can get consistency, but it's still the highs and lows, right? Like you have a win. You're obviously excited. You have a couple of losses, and it's like, what's happened? I've fallen off. I can't sell anything. What's happened?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's just the born salesperson, right? They'll have to deal with it.
And also competition, when we started, nobody knew what buyers advocates are. And I think I was collecting those desperate people who already tried to do it by themselves and they couldn't. And then it's like, going to the doctor as the last avenue. They would come to me saying, yeah, we need help. We don't know what we're doing. But now buyers advocates are quite popular. And I think competition is big because many of them, they are good at selling themselves. Not necessarily they have enough experience or anything, but they're good at talking. Yeah. And you have to be in that space, to know that sometimes you lose it to someone who just started.
And that's the fairness of it as well, right? Like, as in getting into the industry, you don't have to be in it for 6 years, 16 years. You can be in it for 6 months.
And they smash it.
Yeah. You can still do well. There was something that you were mentioning beforehand as well, like what you'd found, like there was a couple of moments throughout your journey in terms of, you'd gotten into a situation and then having these calls or conversations with other people and like even joining Everest, just being in that group of people. Was there anything that you wanted to open up about there?
Well, I was talking to you before about arrogance, and I think buyer's agency really mirrors that to me, and that I still have it in me, or I still have to deal with it. Like when I met Benny first time, I remember we were sitting at the round table. There were maybe 10 of us, and I was looking at him and thinking, what can you teach me? What can you possibly teach me here for $5,000 or whatever it was back then? It was a decent amount for me. Yeah. And I thought, I'm a licensed agent. I'm trained by Neil Genman. I achieved a lot of things through door knocking, rainy days, sunny days, who cares? I've done it all. And you're sitting here, my age, like, what are you about to teach me? But then I thought, well, maybe, if I try, maybe there is not much to lose apart from $5,000. And I did try. And God, I wouldn't be able where I am now without joining Buyers Agency Institute back then. And I'm endlessly grateful. And I keep talking about it, that it totally changed my life, because even though I had skills, I didn't have structure. I didn't know how to do certain things. And what I never done before, I've never run my business. Mm-hmm. And being a business owner or being a buyer's agent who runs their own business is not about buying houses. There are all many things around it just to get you to the point where you can buy houses for clients. So how do you get clients? How do you prospect? How do you build relationships? And all these things, it's all in the course that I had no idea about.
Yeah.
And it was a good reality check for me that, that my, look, what can you teach me possibly, Yeah. So I've gone through that motion, and then 7 years later, when I was already established and I knew it all, what could you possibly teach me, right? Yeah. I faced a massive crush in my, in my reality. I built a house for myself, and because while I was building it, interest tripled, building time tripled. Financially, it's just the only thing would make sense is to sell it. So I invested so much soul into that home, and I thought I bought houses for more than 100 people, and I deserve to have mine as well. And I lost it, and that's how it felt. I didn't think of it like I built a lot of equity in this place, and I can just utilize it towards my next projects. It didn't feel. I didn't think about that. I felt that I've lost my home, and I was completely destroyed and crushed, and thinking, I don't want to do anything. And I was at the point that I thought I probably should stop my business because, who am I? And I had that massive imposter syndrome, like, who am I helping others to get their homes if I can't even have mine? And I know it's irrelevant or there is no logic to it, but that's how it felt. And that's when I reached out to you and I said, look, I don't know. I think I'm done. And I got to join Everest with hundreds. How many people are there?
It's like 160, 170, yeah.
Of the best top performing buyers advocates, and I became an ambassador in that space, which is my pride, which is my, I don't know, in Russia we have a word, we have a saying, second breath, like, you died and then you were born again. And this was the second time when I thought I can do it all by myself. No, I can't. Mm-hmm. And again, arrogance, poof.
Yeah. Especially when you're running a business by yourself, like it's so refreshing. The first time, because I was the same, like I didn't believe in business coaching. I'm like, what's this guy going to teach me? Like I know everything, right? Like all the internet knows everything and I can just go and rely on that stuff. Very fortunate to have good people around me growing up, but still those business conversations and just the regularity of a conversation, how freeing it is just to meet someone and they're going through the same stuff as you. And it's like, oh, I'm not the only one. And I can actually communicate with this person because it's very hard to do it at home. Friends don't understand it.
Don't understand.
Your partner's not going to understand. Like It's very different. So it is that like second breath. And it's not so much a revival. It's more just like you can breathe.
And you belong.
Yeah.
And you belong. You suddenly belong. You're in a space where everyone speaks the same language. They understand you. You understand them. And sometimes I can't hold myself. I just need to jump into a conversation with other buyer's agents because I've been there. I know the solution. It's like, oh my God. It's
just normalized.
It's not that bad. It's not that bad. It's workable.
Exactly right. It's not that bad. Love the conversation. We could go for ages. I'm just looking at the time going.
We're running out of time.
I want to ask this question because I always like to finish up with this question is, if you were walking down the street and someone said, hey, Marina, I know you're a buyer's agent. I want to be a buyer's agent. What would you say to them?
Commit. If you started, commit. And sometimes if you don't have clients, if it's not working out, don't quit because you may be that close to being super successful.
6 inches from diamonds.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Keep going. Don't stop.
This has been amazing. So good to chat with you. And
Thank you,
it's good to see you again.
And it's wonderful to watch how your business just expanded and how you've grown in this space. It's just incredible.
Thanks again, Marina.